Welcome to We Got a Problem, guys. So today the Huffington Post posted an article about the Fawcett Society, which is, according to their Twitter bio, the UK's leading charity campaigning for gender equality and women's rights. They are sending an open letter to the incompetent Prime Minister Theresa May, calling on her to impose a lifetime ban on candidates who have issued threats of violence, which is quite funny. If May can keep her job long enough, that is, of course. Now, we all know this campaign is in response to the recent outrage over Sargon of Akkad, also known as Carl Benjamin, the UKIP MEP candidate's joke that I wouldn't even rape you to the MP Jess Phillips. Now, the mainstream media are trying to use this joke, take it completely out of context to smear the UKIP MEP candidate, which is also funny because we can do the same thing with some of the things that some people very close to this have said. Now, this campaign features the MP Jess Phillips on the cover, which is strangely ironic considering she made threats to stab her party leader Jeremy Corbyn in a taped interview I will show you now.
Do you want to change leader?
I would do anything that I felt was going to make the Labour Party win the next election, because if I don't have that attitude, all I'm doing is colluding with the Tories. If that's making Jeremy better, I'll roll my sleeves up. If that's not going to happen, and I've said that to him and to his staff to their faces, the day that it becomes that you are hurting us more than you are helping us, I won't knife you in the back, I'll knife you in the front.
Or should we also talk about how she made light of the rapes in Cologne, claiming it was just a normal Friday night in Birmingham when she appeared on BBC's Question Time show in January 2016. The police chief of Birmingham said this was complete nonsense, obviously. You can watch the clip of her saying it here.
Agree with you more that there has obviously been the very rapid nature of lack of cohesion has been caused. However, there is violence against women and girls that you are describing. A very similar situation to what happened in Cologne could be described on Broad Street in Birmingham every week, where women are baited and heckled.
So it would seem she and all the other progressive feminist lunatics are actually advocating for her losing her own job. We'll start off with this video, which is, I'm guessing, her talking about this campaign and why. This should be fairly funny. We'll have a quick look.
We have a serious crisis across the world where progressive politics is taking an absolute battering, and we have to find a way to fill that space and fight back. And if we do it the way that we have always done it, we are going to let them win, because we play by rules all the time that they do not give a toss about. When a man who says that whether he would or wouldn't rape me becomes part of a legitimate debate in our country, where it is now a legitimate debate to say whether that was okay, we have lost the argument. Left-wing politics only ever rises when the country can't cope, and we are in a stage where the country cannot cope. We have a real opportunity to be the solution that the country needs, and we will never ever do it if what we do is, instead of seeking to progress, is that we play in the Conservatives' territory and we just seek to conserve and restore.
Wow. So you hear her saying that the progressive politics are taking a battering. Well, what do they expect? They're bloody insane. Like, some of the things they come out with are just nonsensical. Now, she also states how they need to stop playing by the rules. What do they mean, playing by the rules? Do you plan on breaking the law to win or to get your arguments across? What's that, throwing the milkshakes at people, possibly? Although I'm sure you even condemned that, didn't you? While still complaining about how bad women have it, well, in your position of power. But that whole little clip there seems very authoritarian to me. Like, wow. But let's read a bit of this trash article anyway, as we was going to do before that video come up. Now, in a major new move to change the law, a cross-party group of parliamentarians has signed an open letter to the Prime Minister calling for new action to stamp out the abuse of women in politics. The letter, drafted by the Fawcett Society and published by HuffPost UK, is signed by Labour MP Jess Phillips, former Tory Cabinet Minister Nicky Morgan, and senior feminist campaigners, including Caroline, I'm not even going to try and butcher her name. It follows an online petition signed by 90,000 people to date, which has demanded tougher sanction for those who intimidate women in public life. So what's this? Women only? Don't men get any consideration when being intimidated in public life, like the BBC and the mainstream media, the HuffPost, Jess Phillips are doing to Sargon of Akkad right now? Tommy Robinson, for how long? Nigel Farage is another one. Currently, the law does not disqualify candidates with a track record of issuing threats. Well, Sargon of Akkad never issued a single threat to you. You issued threats to Jeremy Corbyn, as we've already seen, though, so maybe you need to have your job taken from you. You don't deserve it. Now, earlier this month, police decided to investigate remarks by UKIP Euro election candidate Carl Benjamin, who had tweeted in 2016 that Phillips with a message saying, "I wouldn't even rape you." Now, as we already know, Phillips was making light of her own rape comments in 2016 about the Cologne rapes. So she's hardly one to talk on that. It's a little bit hypocritical. The article goes on to state how Benjamin repeated the claim in a video on his YouTube in April, saying, "There's been an awful lot of talk about whether I would or wouldn't rape Jess Phillips. I suppose with enough pressure I might cave. But let's be honest, nobody's got that much beer." Another clear joke, no different to any joke that any other comedian has ever made in their life. The MP revealed she had broke down in tears in Birmingham city centre when she heard about his comments. Well, according to her, Birmingham city centre's rape fest, so how did she break down in tears? She would have been instantly raped according to her own opinion on Birmingham city centre. So, make your mind up. It's either safe enough for a woman to cry her eyes out, or it's not safe enough and you will be instantly raped. Make your mind up. Now, on the day of the police investigation, the Birmingham Yardley MP, also revealed that a man followed her as she left the Commons. He asked why Benjamin shouldn't be able to joke about her rape, shouting, "I pay your wages." That's got nothing to do with Carl Benjamin. That's just someone who probably doesn't like you. Many MPs from different parties see the abuse as yet another example of a wider problem confronting women in public life. Well, how do you think men in public life get it? Phillips has condemned protesters who have thrown milkshakes over both Benjamin and the Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage, but she has pointed out that while swift action was taken against the perpetrators, women suffering abuse often failed to get the same protection. What do you mean they failed to get the same protection? There's plenty of protection for women suffering abuse. Here's you moaning about it now. There's your protection. The media's backing you. Ridiculous. Now, the Fawcett Society wants a new offence of intimidation of election candidates to be extended, with a statutory code of conduct for candidates which they all sign up to. Political parties need to be held accountable for the candidates they select, with tough penalties in place. Well, that would rule Phillips out of a job then, as she threatened to stab the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn. So, how is that any different to threatening to not rape someone? I'd say killing someone's worse than raping someone, although both are fucking terrible. And the article just continues to go on spieling about how terrible women have it in life in general. Maybe if you were talking about 100 years ago or some foreign countries, I could believe it, but not in England. Women have just as much rights, if not more rights, than men. So yeah, I'll link the BuzzFeed article if you really want to read it, but it's fucking nonsensical in my opinion. She's just, yeah, and how they've got her on the front cover, considering her comments about the rapes in Cologne and also her comments, taped comments, both of these are taped comments of her saying this on TV or to a news organisation. So it just baffles me how she can sit there taking the moral high ground. You're about as good as the BBC, love.